Hello everyone and welcome to our big bumper episode where we are discussing episode 11 and the final or finale of series 2.
The Noel.
I'm glad that Ciale called him Noel because I called him Noel at the beginning of this series all that time ago. So Noel.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas everyone. Merry Christmas.
Yes, we are discussing series 2 final and episode 11 of New Zealand Traitors series 2. My name is Ben and I am, as I say every single episode, I am faithful. Don't let Jason tell you otherwise.
Poor Jason. I'm Alex, hello, and I am also a faithful. I hope you are all well watching the final with your eyes behind your hands. I don't know what's the...
With your bottle of Paul Henry gin.
With your bottle of Paul Henry gin and eating a ridiculous amount of hot sauce and dissecting a mouse on a table. Was that necessary, New Zealand? Was that necessary? Was it?
We watched all of the... Some people watch the Traitors and just skip the challenges and don't watch them ever. We always watch the challenges, but we did skip a few with a few of Donna's dissecting.
I mean, it felt a bit...
What was the point?
I know. It felt a bit... I don't know.
It's not much of a challenge. It's not like she was being dissected.
Well, yeah, that would be a challenge.
Exactly.
Donna, you will be dissected and then all your lungs, intestines and heart will go back into your body and sewn back up.
Exactly. That was just a bit odd and a bit weird.
I mean, we were looking forward to the very final challenge. Last year was an extraordinary, like one of them basically got put into a very cold tank for 5 minutes and that was their challenge. But
one had the option of getting a tattoo, decided not to.
Fair enough. I mean, it was disproportionate, let's just say, towards some to the others. And it kind of felt a bit more even. But I do think that Joe got the rough end of the stick rather than the rough end of the stick. You know what I mean?
The rough end of the chili.
Yes.
Jason, as always, just having a lovely time.
Jason,
he loves being electrocuted. He loves scraping his knees against rocks.
He loves falling down mountains and then climbing back up again. It was right up his street, that.
Yeah.
But we will talk about the challenges and also what happened to the very, very end. Oh my goodness, what an ending. What an ending. You might notice that we're not doing what we normally or used to do, and that is watch the Fire Pit live as we would be recording. That's because some people don't like it very much.
The listeners or viewers like it.
I'm talking about executives who own TV channels didn't like it quite so much. So we've had to stop.
You just can't innovate on podcasts. Why can you? You try something new.
I mean, you can innovate on the podcast as long as you don't post it on YouTube. As soon as you post it on YouTube, then the Google Corporation will then start siding with the bigger companies rather than the little men. Yeah. Anyway, that's for another discussion. However, thank you to everyone who's got in touch with us. We have had a few messages to read out on the show. I don't know when Ben's planning to read them out. He's got them ready to go. I've got one ready to go because I'm the keeper of the TikTok. I'm the TikTok keeper. But of course, you can still get in touch with us if you want to. Don't feel like there's no reason to get in touch with us because we still like to read your messages after the fact of the show. You can get in touch with us at email, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can find us on X or Twitter at Traitors Podcast, on Instagram and Threads at Faithful to the Traitors. You can search for us on YouTube by searching Faithful to the Traitors Podcast and commenting underneath the video. Don't forget to like, ring the bell and hit the like button for notifications and all that. And if you want to help the podcast grow, you can either let your friends know, you can either write a 5-star comment on your favourite podcast app, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful and throw a silver bar our way.
Well, that's exactly what Mike did.
Hello, Mike. You know? Mike? Builder Mike? Mike?
I doubt it. I don't know.
You don't.
There's more than one Mike in the world,
but
there's not more than one Builder Mike.
Or this Mike. This
True.
Mike is also...
So he was here because it's the final. We have to double up our coffers, you see. So he sent us 2 silver bars. So great show and my kind of energy. It's like being at a good friend's house, just listening in to the conversation. So there you go.
Oh, hello, Mike. Thank you ever so much for the silver bars. We do appreciate it. Yeah, if it is indeed the Mike, as in Builder Mike,
we need a new roof.
Joe's ride. That's one, we need that. But 2, Joe's ride to work. So no, that was Utah, wasn't it?
Sorry, who are you riding?
Oh no,
to work?
Mike rode a bike which had lots of bricks on it.
To be honest, you'll ride any of them to work. Let's be honest here, including Jackie. So we did also have a comment on YouTube who says, and this is aged wonderfully, Faithful are going to win. I love Bailey, but I'm sure Jason is being set up as the hero of the show.
I mean, Jason was quite heroic throughout the episode. It's just, unfortunately, the people he relied on didn't quite have the same trust in him.
Blame Joe. Personally.
I mean, Joe for me, right? Joe had such control throughout the whole game, and he just lost it at the very last minute. He just, the flailing he did around the house trying to gather up troops. And then at the final round table as well, when he just started getting a little bit sassy, a little bit sarcastic, lost control.
Maybe the past 2-3 episodes, I'd say. He's been getting sassier.
But he lost control. And whether it was through an arrogance or whether it was through a panic, because let's be honest, it kind of started after Utah gone. And at that point, I think he had something.
You would panic.
Well, you would, obviously, because you're
not going to sleep through the night again. You're not going to sleep through the night again.
If Utah's not going to come into your room and knock on the door, then why would you stay in the game?
Why bother?
But also because, like, that was Joe's kindred spirit. That was Joe's friend. Joe and
family. With Ciale, which was the issue here.
Yeah, he would.
Ciale killed Utah.
He would not believe. He would not believe Ciale was a traitor either. He thought that Jason was a traitor, though. That's who he was going for. Jason and Ciale.
The thing that we love, confidently wrong.
Yeah, but yes, that's
half wrong.
That's right. He was so confident about it. He got. I mean, funnily enough, the one person who kind of coasted their way to the final without any suspicion whatsoever, Bailey, was the one that everyone, bar one other person, suspected. And it's funny, the one person who didn't suspect her was the one who really Bailey was the most betrayed the most.
I mean, I did ask Joe how he felt about losing the show and how he feels about Alicia sent this.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good to know.
So he's doing okay.
I don't think Joe is fine, because when he got banished,
I'm fine.
He did storm off a little bit. Look, we're jumping forward a little bit, because before any of this happened, Noel still existed.
Oh, before even that.
And I was about to say,
our favourite detective,
Detective Cat got murdered as well. So
it had to happen, I'm afraid.
Yep. So you know what it's time for?
Oh, already we're going there.
Well, we might as well go straight to.
Okay. Just a minute.
What's your name and where do you come from?
Cat
is my name. Right, I need to find the thing now. Okay, so we got sent something from a listener/viewer, because obviously we've been using the spinoff.co.nz, which has one sentence of information, which so far 80% of it has been incorrect, and we've been corrected by the contestants about what is wrong.
Plus, we've been topping up with our own information as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for instance, who rides a bike to work? It's been the talk of the whole podcast.
Whitney, she rides. She doesn't. She's told us.
Whitney got in touch and told us that she doesn't ride a bike, and nor does Bree.
No.
But they've been in touch. So
Bree said that as well.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
should I read Bree's before we do?
Well, I'm trying to do.
What's your name and where do you come from?
All right, we'll do that first then. Go on.
Cat
Hooker. TJ Hooker.
You don't look at my fact file. Anyway, I haven't even got what I said. Someone sent us the press kit. So, now we have a full paragraph of information that should be correct. So, Kat reads people for a living and isn't fazed easily. An occupational therapist, she has worked in some of the highest security prisons in Australia.
God.
Was she a consultant on Wentworth, do you think?
Perhaps. I wonder if she liked
cup of tea.
A cup of tea. I wonder if she liked the ending.
What, of Wentworth?
Yeah, the very final episode.
All the series were good of Wentworth.
Wonder what she thought about
what, B dying.
B's fate. Sorry. Well, I mean, that's not a spoiler. That happens series 3, series 2 or 3,
4, 5.
And also whether my theory that she's actually not dead.
She is
and
dead.
They could have brought her back.
No, she should have come back as a flashback in the final episode to see Ali. But anyway.
Right.
So she has worked in the highest security prisons. We don't know if she watches Wentworth. That could be a question for next series.
Do you watch Wentworth?
Wentworth Prison, we're talking about. In the UK. And it's in Australia, not New Zealand. But Kat worked in Australia. Anyway, she's a Traitors superfan and is all about the cash prize. Loyal to a fault, she says her friends are her family and she'll go after anyone who crosses them or crosses her. Oh, so there you go.
See, no, this is the information that we wanted from the start.
It's a shame I'm glad the person sent it to us, but it's a shame they didn't send it to us like 3 weeks ago.
It's really interesting information, and it's information that actually gives us some kind of look into what kind of game player they would be, rather than some sarcastic comment like, and will they be there in the game? You know, something.
We may be back next series for series 3 with the spin-off.nz.
Well, I mean, if anyone from the production crew are listening to us,
send us a press kit.
send us the press kit.
It's not hard.
You can
The
trust
Traitors
us.
New Zealand follow us anyway, so you just send it
You
to
can
us.
trust us. Paul Henry follows us.
No, he
Well, no,
doesn't.
he liked us.
He
He liked
likes-
a thing.
One story.
I love Paul Henry. We never did get our answer that I asked last week.
Which one? So many.
What does Paul Henry sound
Oh,
like?
right, yes. You'll never know.
But we did get from Brie.
Oh, okay,
So
Brie.
this is where I linked. See. So on TikTok, obviously.
Brie, has she paid
Brie.
for her wedding yet? We don't know. That's
So we
not
are-
important.
Also true, Brie.
No one
Have you
cares.
paid your?
No.
I care. She paints her nails a lot.
Good.
Because she's on TikTok. It comes up on the TikTok all the time. So we actually have an account for TikTok, but it's not faithful to the Traitors. It's under the umbrella group, because that's what we are. An umbrella group.
Of what?
BAM Productions. BAM!
Right.
Exclamation point. So it's BAM Productions.
What's Brie said?
Bree said about Paul Henry, he was very professional and limited interaction when not filming, which was good because it meant he never gave anything away. He's very nice and he knew my name. Also, I don't ride a bike to work, which is the whole...
I feel like, as we've been saying for a while, that Ever Camp Paul Henry has more in common with RuPaul than everyone thinks. Because that's how people describe RuPaul.
Dada?
He only talks to the contestants when the cameras are rolling. After that, there's no point
For
if the
me,
cameras aren't rolling.
that's
So,
professional.
exactly.
Paul Henry is professional, and I won't hear anything said otherwise.
I mean, he did have the...
You worked hard to earn that money, just like all those other people worked really hard to lose it.
I mean, that was the line. There was the very final line as well of the whole series.
Yes.
Paul Henry does have some sass. Come on. That was a good line.
Yeah.
I thought you were saving that to the very end.
No, I'm just going with it.
Yeah.
The final, do whatever we want.
But to the winner, he says, like, you worked hard to win it. Everyone else worked harder to lose. It's like, in a weird way, I love that about Paul Henry. I just love that about Paul Henry.
Right, so we lost Kat.
Kat got killed.
Yeah, had to happen,
Had to
sadly.
happen.
We loved Kat. I had her picked as one of the faithfuls to watch out for. Of course, I was correct. But she didn't make the final. She was gone.
I wonder how different the fire pit would have been if it had been Kat and not Donna at the end. I'm throwing that out there right now because Donna,
Too many variables to think about.
Donna, I felt like was the
Leading with her heart.
Well, Kat, I think would have
Teamed up with Jason.
yes. So I think the conclusion would be very different. So, for what I mean to say is that the decision by Cialy and Bailey to make her the last murdered was possibly a very good one.
Yeah.
Bailey, I think, was pushing it more than Cialy, but
Well,
Cialy
Cialy
was on
wanted
board.
to hide behind it, didn't he? He wanted to do the double bluff, but it didn't really work.
It kind of did because it never really got mentioned outside of a
That's true.
few kind of dropped in now and then. The thing with Cialy was throughout these 2 episodes that he just could not shake off. And again, if Kat had been there, it wouldn't have mattered if Kat was there or not because he just could not shake it off. And again, it didn't really help him.
Oh,
Because
the conversation you couldn't remember.
it made Kat look like she was telling the truth because it got found out that it discovered that she's faithful because she got murdered, and that's that conversation that Cialy claims he didn't have with Kat, and Kat was adamant that they had, and
Which
through-
production keep clipping in to make everyone know they did.
they
have
did
that.
have that conversation. Now I still don't know if Cialy is telling the truth or not because I genuinely think Cialy doesn't remember that conversation.
Yeah, probably he doesn't.
I don't think he remembers it. And unfortunately for Cialy, that kind of caught him out a little bit. Because there was in the game when they were playing in episode 11, Two Truths and a Lie, Noel caught Cialy out by asking him, first he claimed that he only had one kidney. Then Noel said, have you got any other thing? He said, I've got an Achilles heel. I've got a
and then
problem
went into
with my
great
foot."
detail about it.
And then went into great detail about it. Before that, Cialy went into no detail about his single kidney. He's like, Tonga.
it's like-
it happens.
Hey, why did it happen? Oh, I grew up somewhere. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
I grew
Okay.
up. I grew up not near a hospital.
I thought he was going to make up a story that he sold his kidney or something where he was going. I was like, where's this going?
on a market somewhere.
I
But-
sold it on the black market.
but so Cialy, you could see there was evidence of when Cialy lies, and so that's what. So at first I kind of thought maybe Cialy was pushing the truth a little bit about Kat's accusation, but after that had happened and they caught him out on a lie, And it was a blatant lie. And then they went to the round table later, and you could just tell that Cialy wasn't acting the same way as he's been caught out. Do I genuinely believe that Cialy did not remember that conversation?
No.
Which is such a shame, because that really was his undoing.
That stuff gets you caught out. And old Jason, he's literally just been watching the whole series, like he said. And
I know.
he had it all figured out in the end, but he couldn't quite get... I think Joe was blinded. He couldn't break up the friendship that Bailey and Donna had made with each other. So it was just... It's a shame, because he played like a really good final few episode game, and then he couldn't quite get the relationship there with either Joe or Donna. They sided with other people instead.
Who, Jason? Jason couldn't get the relationship. That's a shame, though, because Jason and Joe could have been a force. They really could have been a force. And
I think Joe messed up his own game, to be fair.
He did. Well, he voted
Not slagging
Jason.
anyone off here, but I do feel like he messed up the past two and a half episodes.
I think if Jason had got Joe on his side and Joe had been convinced by Jason to stick together, Donna would have been collateral damage, unfortunately. I think Donna still would have been knocked off.
That's why I was a bit glad that Joe didn't win, because he was like, oh, we can then get rid of Donna. And because he was talking to Cialy, he was like, we're faithful, and then we can get rid of Donna too and have the money. It's like, pardon?
Yeah,
what about Donna?
But the strange thing
and then
is...
they're going to give some to Utah.
Well, the strange thing is he didn't actually do it in that order in the end, because his plan was to get rid of Bailey first, which obviously didn't happen, then get rid of Donna, and then get rid of Jason. That was his plan. Then when he got to the fire pit, the first vote he did was Jason, which was why it was so surprising, because if he had gone for Bailey... then it would have been a completely different
Joe and
kettle of fish.
Jason, and
Joe
they
and
would have
Jason
got rid of Donna probably, because maybe, I don't know, but yeah.
I think Joe and Donna would have got rid of Jason. I think Jason
do you think?
was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. Well, unfortunately, Jason had decided that now was the time to really step up and kind of talk out in the game, and like you say, Jason played a really strange one, because like throughout the series we were kind of like saying how Jason kind of wasn't really participating. We seemed to be having a lot of fun playing it, and then all of a sudden this seriousness came onto him, and he was
ex-military.
He was very, very serious, very suddenly, and
he
he
was
was playing
right.
the game. Well, yeah, which
He's
shows
right about
that
everything.
From sitting back and watching it, he was right to kind of like, watch the group.
Well, shall we just have a little moment then and fire through some...
What's your name and where do you come from?
Because you never know, the fact file may give us insight into how they played the game.
Maybe. So we're going to go on to Noel, I take it, who ran over his sister.
Allegedly.
No, it's a fact. 2 facts and a thing.
Wait, what was his lie? He didn't...
he couldn't say...
the word that he could pronounce, he couldn't pronounce.
Yeah, and I can't say the word. And you could tell in his mind he was trying to make out that he couldn't say it. And then he got really upset that his intelligence had been questioned. He was like, of course I can say that word. Anyone can say that word. It's like, all right, mate, calm down, Noel.
I liked Noel.
But I like Noel a lot too. And I think Noel had a big fight on his hands to even make it as far as he did. So congratulations, Noel, for getting as far as you did. And he took it with real grace. So
And apparently he's an actor too. Is everyone an
since
actor?
the age of 7.
I was going to play not another one clip, because it's like, how many actors do they need?
Yeah, but
anyway.
actors should do well in this game. That's the point. That's probably why
No,
they
he
always
did.
have...
He was there quite a long time, wasn't he?
Well, he was
Against
one of the
all
last.
odds.
You must also remember he was one of the last 3 gravediggers. The probably the best plan the Traitors came up with.
Theatre kids.
Yeah, but the best plan they came up with from the very beginning, from about episode 3 or 4, was to get those. Get those 3 in the coffin digging situation. All 3 of them from that moment onwards were seen as traitors, and they were all revealed to not be traitors. So best plan by the Traitors, that one.
Very odd jeans he's wearing in his promo picture, I just noticed.
Okay.
No, just like the button up. It's just at an angle. It's very
I
strange.
mean, this is thrilling stuff.
Also,
for people
why
listening.
are the promo people, why are they holding cards?
I don't know.
What's the deal with these cards? He's holding the J card. Do you know what that is?
The Jack. The J card. I don't know. Would they? Are they numbered? Are they a little hint of the order in which they went?
No, I don't know. Clover. What's that mean?
No, that's the Jack of clubs.
Oh, clubs. That's not clubs. That's a clover.
That's a club.
Is it?
Yes.
I thought it was called a clover.
You thought it was a J card.
I was saying J for you to then tell us what the J was.
The J of clover.
I like that.
The J of
That's the
clover.
title of my next book.
Maybe we could release some
J of
cards.
clover.
We could release some. Why have they not a table? They missed a trick here, and they're doing the promo photos.
Paul Henry in them.
Paul Henry's face should have been on the king.
There's not enough budget to that. Anyway, so what's your name? Where'd you come from?
No.
Noel, 22. Noel is an enigma wherever he goes. I told you he has one of those faces, the teen CW leading actor face.
Well, you got that from that one sentence.
No, well, enigma wherever he goes. He's very enigma-y. Anyway, he grew up living between both
Enigma-y.
New York
That's not a real word, no, Joe.
and Invercargill. How do I say that? Invercargill.
Invercargill, yeah.
Yep. Two very different places, apparently.
One Ben doesn't know.
Desperate. Well, that's my two truths and a lie. I can't pronounce.
The J
That's what they should
the
have
J
said
of
to-
Clovis. I don't know what a deck of cards are.
The two very different places. Desperately trying to avoid becoming an office rat, he prefers to travel the world and embark on adventures. He should get his own travel series, I feel. He's quick and funny and loves the craft of lying and spinning a good story. And he's good at it. He'll enjoy being the mysterious member of the group. Well, he lived up to that, didn't he?
He did. He openly said that he was disappointed that he didn't end up being a traitor in the game as well. When he was doing
Yes.
his farewell speech, he openly said that he didn't. He wanted to be the liar, and he said he was out. He said he was out of his comfort zone because he had to tell the truth to people, which kind of makes him a very suspicious person.
Yeah, he's just generally suspicious, I feel. Noel was. So, do you want to keep going with these fact files?
Well, no, I think we should carry on. We're now talking about how people went. So Noel went, and they then went to the final episode. So Noel had gone. They were all feeling a little bit downhearted. They were all feeling a little bit sad, like what have we
Couldn't
done?
believe it.
This is something we should say also. Jason not only knew who the two traitors were, but he explained in very good detail how there were only two traitors and why the two traitors are both recruits and not the original two traitors.
Oh, with his knives and forks and spoons.
I mean, he figured it out. This is what I'm saying. Jason, where have you been this whole game? You
He was
figured it
watching
out.
and observing and not pushing him out so much so he didn't get murdered. He played a good game just until the end.
For me, though, he had the personality that if he had just pushed it a little bit quicker, I think he could have sailed through it a bit better.
I was hoping at the last minute that Donna and Jason were going to take the win secretly, is what I was hoping. I was just thinking Donna needs to betray her friend, listen to the guy who's got all these notes, all this paper. They'd gotten rid of Joe.
Jason had notes, didn't he? He's got paper
He
as
had a
well.
Q&A and all sorts on there. They showed it to Joe, and Joe was like, this actually means that Ciali is a traitor. And then he didn't vote for him, so it was just weird.
There was a lot that went on, actually. That was probably one of the most heated final roundtables I've seen on any series. Normally the final roundtable is done with a little bit more kind of like civility and a little calmer, and people kind of talk their explanations to one another. This is their final chance to talk, because you're not allowed to really talk around the fire pit. Sometimes they allow you to do one final speech. This time they didn't. So the final roundtable is their one opportunity to kind of like have their say, give their thoughts out, and then and normally it's done in a very diplomatic and a very civil manner.
But we had Joe, so...
I mean, Joe really did shake the birdcage a little bit, and
Bailey stayed quite calm under it, though, because he was really going for her, really. And she didn't...
but there was a
She
lot.
didn't rise to any of it.
There was
so-
a lot going on, like between them, though. You could tell there was a frustration there, which you don't normally see at the final roundtable. But there might be a good reason for that, and that's because they had their individual final tasks.
Yes. There's
So-
a reason Joe was so fiery.
Yes, well, exactly.
He'd just been on the toilet for 20 minutes before. Filming was
Did
behind.
you notice that when they were doing the conversations before that, he kept rubbing his stomach? Like,
Not
he must have had a
surprised.
really bad tummy. Like even
I'd be really pissed off if that was me, because I then have to do this filming of the final, which
Yeah,
goes
like,
on
really
for
uncomfortable.
hours, and I just want to shit myself the whole time. So
no wonder Joe was walking off toward the house with his legs crossed. So Joe had to drink 5 shots of... It's quite cruel as well. 5 shots of hot sauce
big
and then eat
shots.
5 chilies. Like, wow.
it's just ridiculous.
Ciali, who in my opinion, other than the memory game, because I would have been rubbish at that as well,
Yeah, but they've only been playing it for 12 days. You probably could remember.
I can't remember your name 9 times out of 10. I can't
Especially
remember producer Charlie's
once he was a
name.
traitor, he probably remembered it much more clearer. It's sort of up to then. He was a
No,
bit
I'm just
confused.
bad at names. Like, I worked with someone for 3 months and I still didn't know their name. I can't do names. I apologise this now. If I ever meet you and you know me, I won't remember your name. I'm telling you that right now. Ciali, I think, had the easiest one, which was lay in a bed of maggots, oh boo-hoo, and then recite all the members of the game in what order they got eliminated with a box of... It's with like 5 insects in there. It wasn't hard, was it?
I think Jason was the easiest, surely. He's had to go
No,
up and
because
down.
I don't like heights. So for me, that was quite facing
liked it.
forward, abseiling down a hill, and then climbing back up again.
Donna's was just stupid.
Donna's
and
was
disgusting.
nasty, and I really didn't like it at all. And I don't know why they did it. And I feel like the production got told off for doing it as well because they blurred it as well. They didn't show it on screen.
It's just a really odd thing. It's like cut this rat open, take out things, and then put it there and sew it back up. It's like why?
Random. And also,
she put the gloves on and she had all the.
she had her glasses as well on the end of her nose. Like I think like Donna had done something similar before.
We'll have to find out on a fact file.
Donna, let us know. Let us know. Have you dissected an animal in the past? I mean, someone who should have been good at that, but obviously doesn't know the difference between a lung and a trotter.
Hoof.
Is a hoof, is our
Whitney.
friend Brittany, yeah.
No, Whitney.
Whitney. Brittany
Yeah.
Whitney. We've had this discussion. Bailey. Again,
Yeah,
I
in
feel
a
like I had an
coffin.
easy one. Got locked in a coffin, had to find a code, and then
Travel
went
through some weird tunnel. Where
and
did
then
the
rang a
tunnel
bell.
come from? I thought the coffin was going to lead into the tunnel or something. Like the bottom was going to fall out.
I tell you what they should have done for
Very
Bailey. This would have been exciting for me. They should have put the coffin at the start of a very long drop waterfall, and she had the time from the start to the edge of the waterfall to get out of that coffin.
What if the coffin filled with water?
It wouldn't, because it'd be floating. That's peril. But where Bailey had to crawl through, and she claimed it was like feces and stuff. That looked like animal food to me.
Yeah, it looked like dog food smushed.
I think that was dog
Probably
food.
from Paul Henry's 3 dogs.
Pomeranians. May I also just add a little fact file about Paul Henry?
Oh, of course.
His first dog was called Professor Spanky.
I feel there's a bit of tension between Noel and Paul Henry.
I think there's a lot of tension between Noel and everyone. Noel kind of gave a very guarded...
No, I like that about him. There's something about Noel that I liked. I don't know what it was.
At the breakfast table between Noel and Joe, and they just sat there in silence. They didn't say a word to each other. And they
Yeah, but that was Noel was trying to talk to him, and Joe wouldn't talk to him.
Yeah, but to be fair to Joe, I will be fair to Joe on this one. Joe felt very betrayed because he accused him as being a snake because he confided in him with a theory,
With Donna.
and then Noel went straight to the person he confided to and told them. And so Joe felt like he couldn't trust him anymore. So that's why he said nothing to him.
Joe was a victim of his family connections, I'm afraid.
By family, you mean on the show, not his
Yeah.
actual.
No.
I was going to say,
Not his actual family.
Joe does not have any links to the mafia or any kind of anything
Don't
like
know that.
I mean,
I read his fact file, yeah.
don't, because if Joe does, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to have someone knocking on that door. I'm going to wake up with
You wake up with a flower on your pillow.
Yes!
From his ear. Did you notice as well when he was doing his hot food?
He took the flower out. Was it physically inconvenient?
Because he was getting hot, he took his flower off his ear.
Yeah.
So that would cool me down.
Far too hot right now. I need to put this on there for.
Right, so where are we now then? Who's going next? Joe?
They've done the fight, so they
No,
do...
Ciale
The fight.
was going, wasn't he?
Yes, so they then do the final roundtable. Now, this was a little bit surprising. So Jason was accused immediately by Joe, and this is where Jason then kind of kicked out his thoughts. He straight away said Bailey and Ciale are the traitors. He's got the proof. He talked about the conversation that
He's
that
correct,
Kat
all
had.
done and dusted, easy.
Yeah, exactly.
What a
Job
boring
done.
final.
What a boring final this is going to be. Bailey starts then on Ciale as well. So then we realised that Bailey wasn't going to take no prisoners. She kept saying that she wanted to have a nice little traitor 2-on final and they can both share the money. No, all
The one
bets are
thing
off.
Bailey didn't want, let's remember, is that she didn't want Donna around. She wanted Donna to go before because she didn't want to look into Donna's eyes and say, I'm a traitor. That's the one thing Bailey didn't want to happen in this game.
What happened? But this is the problem. That
It's like Shakespeare.
It is. It's better than Shakespeare. Unfortunately for Bailey, she decided to make a pact with Donna after she voted for her in the
She had to.
penultimate round table. Yeah, I think she had to because I feel like that she lost Donna's trust. And so because it didn't work for her to get her banished on the penultimate round table, she then had to use her as a friend. And as you say, that then really, because it was the one person Bailey didn't want to be in the final 2 with, and didn't quite work out.
All of this comes down to Mark, by the way, because Mark was actually originally picked to be a traitor by Jane. He then said no. Then Bailey was just given the role, and now look what's happened. So,
Yeah, and Bailey won.
yeah. So it's just
How
all-
different it would have been if Mark accepted it. I bet mate Jane would have stayed in the game.
Yeah, she would have been around that
Jane would be
fire
like,
pit.
what the fuck? What are you doing around the... Throw the fucking bag into the fire pit. Come on, we want to carry on playing. I want to get myself some moolah. That's what
What
Jane
would
would have
Jane's
said.
final mission have been? You're handcuffed in a police car and you need to get out. She was rip it off.
Well, it would have been one of the 3, so I imagine she would have ended up with the one Bailey had.
No, they would have personalised.
Do you think they
ones.
would have tailored them
Yeah, oh,
specifically?
yeah.
No, Jane's would have been then chase a culprit.
Chase Paul Henry.
Yeah, chase Paul Henry around the house until you catch
tackle him.
Yeah, his Pomeranian's coming biting her ankles.
But it was fun because when Ciali went around the final round table, Paul Henry piped up and was like, "You're not allowed to say anything."
Right, yes. So, what a twist. That I can't remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, get in touch with us, faithfultotraitors@gmail.com and all the social medias and blah, blah, blah. Or comment below if you're watching the
3
video.
months' time.
Yeah. Like the Royal Mail, we'll get back to you not very soon. He wasn't allowed to say if he was a traitor or not. Now, that is a good idea because that really stokes confusion then within the group. And you could
if he did say, that would have made Joe probably think twice about what he was going to do around the fire pit, and he didn't. He was still thinking Ciali was faithful. I
think Jason and obviously Bailey as well were the only two who believed that they had eliminated a traitor. I think Jason knew and Bailey knew.
Yeah.
So for Jason, I think it was just a case of needing to get Bailey out. And because there was a unanimous decision on both occasions around the fire pit to carry on the game as well. And that's rare as well. That doesn't normally happen. Normally the traitor makes a mistake and wants to stop the game, which makes it glaringly obvious that they're the traitor.
That happened on a stupid series, America Series 2, which was just
and,
ridiculous.
Or they just come to after the first vote, normally after the first fire pit, they normally think to themselves, that can't be it, that must be it now, that must be us finished, and they finish. So it's very strange that unanimously each time they carried on the game. So yes, poor Ciali though was a casualty of Bailey's very, very sneaky gameplay. I mean, she really was like a very innocent looking
and I think what helped Bailey actually win this is which normally doesn't help people, but the fact that she was recruited late helped her in a weird way, because she was such I'm a faithful type character, like player, that her being recruited late, she'd already made all those connections where people were like, oh, you can't be a traitor because you didn't do this or didn't do that, because she was a faithful at the time. So I think in a weird way, for the first time, that kind of helped her.
Yeah. She didn't...
Similar to Australia Series 1 a little bit. I feel Bailey was a better player. I think she played it really well.
I agree. I think Bailey played an excellent game. She played a stonking game.
It was just, the end is just horrible, because it just makes me feel ill and sick all the time. I just go into myself because it's like, no.
I think the biggest shame for Bailey
betrayal
was that I don't think this is actually her personality at all, and she almost touched or tapped into something that she didn't realise she had inside of her. And it's really
Am I
weird.
a psychopath was the unanswered question of the series.
And we're still waiting to find out, because I just feel like that outside of this game, I don't think Bailey would even do anything like this. Like, you have players who come into this game.
It's going to be her villain origin story.
Yeah, she's going to be like Iron Man with her 74,000 New Zealand dollars. Sorry. There's so many players who come into the game and they want to be the traitor. Noel being an example, because they feel like they've got that in them. They've got that sneaky suspicion, not suspicion, there's sneakiness in them. Bailey wasn't like that. She didn't feel like she could be. And then as soon as she got turned into a traitor, something almost snapped in her. And it was so enjoyable to watch it happen in her.
Also, it was clear that people probably didn't think she could be a traitor, because Jane didn't even pick her when it was probably the better option to have picked her at the time. So, yeah, she's obviously just one of those contestants that look like one of those faithful who kind of stick around and then get murdered. But yeah, she went all the way.
But you saying that her original game was that she, like at the start, she was just a very good faithful and she was friendly to everyone. She didn't. That's another flaw that sometimes happens when they get recruited as a traitor. They change. And it was quite a common thing that people were saying that Ciali had changed almost of a sudden in like episode.
Yeah, the type of questions they ask changed, don't they?
Yeah, and
That's
also
said.
Ciali was being very accusational. He was investigating. He was kind of throwing out claims to people, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just kind of went within himself and would only answer questions if he got asked them. And he got actually called out for that by I forget who now.
I think it was Jason, wasn't it?
It might have been, and he said that, like, you know, you and Utah and I forget the second person used to get together and you would throw like accusations around the round table. You worked as a team quite often, and then you kind of stopped doing that. And Ciali, you almost used an excuse of like, well, Utah and the other player got eliminated, so I kind of lost my wingmen, and so I wasn't able to do that quite so.
Didn't have confidence
accessibility,
to do it.
Yeah. But it just didn't. Poor Ciali, unfortunately, changed. But again, going back to your point, which was about an hour ago, which I'm babbling, but like Bailey clearly was able to keep true and stay to herself. And I think ultimately, because the whole reasons for a lot of people's voting was toward their personality throughout the game changing, Bailey's hadn't, and that's what ultimately won her the game. I think Donna was the only, because Donna hadn't been convinced by anyone to think otherwise. So yeah, there you go. So that's me babbling. But Joe got voted off.
Joe, around the fire pit. So
the first fire pit, Joe got voted off. So
do you want that? Oh, you want that? Okay.
What's your name and where do you come from?
Joe is the self-crowned, quote, Queen of Sass, and brings life to any party. Often the confidant of his friend and family. Joe's game strategy hinges on gathering the secrets and then using them to his best advantage.
He almost had it. 70%, I'd say.
They should have given him the Queen card, not King, if he's the Queen of Sass. Anyway, he's happy to stir the pot and turn people against each other.
The Q card.
if necessary. So yeah, he stirred the pot. He's unpredictable, loud, and can't wait for the drama.
The problem with Joe was that he stirred the pot with the wrong people, and so he kind of didn't quite use his knowledge right, if that makes sense. Because he was within the most influential group of the whole series. He was with the house husbands, Joe, Utah, him, and Ciale.
And everyone just liked him.
Everyone liked him, but they were together, and they were a very strong group together. And they did influence a few votes around that round table. And as
he spent the first half of the game not really knowing the game, I feel, making mistakes, but the type of mistakes that people like you're faithful because you don't really know what you're doing.
But then as soon as he got welcomed into the house husbands group, I think that's when his game notched up, and he then gained the confidence to kind of then start talking out and telling people what his thoughts were. But unfortunately, he started ramping up so much that by the final round table and by the fire pit, he almost got himself confused by how convinced he was with his information and the things he was saying. He started throwing confusion as well into the game right at the very end as well, which is a really weird thing to do. Like, he was deliberately trying to throw confusion within a group of people who ultimately were on his side. And so I think that was Joe's undoing in the end. That, and the fact that Joe voted for Jason. And it was such a weird thing to do around the fire pit.
He should have voted for Bailey. It was just
If he voted for Bailey, it would have been a revote. And that, again, might have been an occasion where Donna might have rethought the way she was voting. So again, Jason had an opportunity there to convince the right person to vote the right way, Donna to vote for Bailey. But instead, he was so adamant and so convinced by his idea that Jason was the traitor.
I know,
that he voted for
why
him.
would he go for Jason but not Ciara? Like, why did he not change his mind? What was it that it's just a bit odd. I don't know.
Well, he said he didn't trust. He said that Jason wasn't. Jason wasn't trying to swing a vote. I wanted to show you faithful. I've written here, so I presume that Jason wasn't. Jason was. Jason was seemingly trying to swing his vote, and he didn't like that very much. While Ciale,
he said, "Trust me." Ciale didn't ask him to trust him. Yeah.
While Ciale didn't ask him to do that, so he trusted Ciale.
Nor did Donna.
Exactly. So he kind of, trusted him more.
Well, so we got next then Jason, our master game player for the final 2 episodes.
So he got the final. So in the final fire pit vote, the only one they had left, Jason got 2 votes. Obviously, Donna had the deciding vote, and she voted for Jason with Bailey. So
Sticking to her mate.
Bailey got her way.
So Jason,
what's your name? Where did he come from?
Jason. There will be an in-show reveal about his ex-military background. I can't remember that reveal. I thought everyone knew anyway. Navy, police, and international security.
Jason, like James Bond.
Well,
he's like a Tongan James Bond.
Seeing him go down that cliff, it was like seeing Daniel Craig. Jason knows about landscaping. Well, that's good. He can come over with Builder Mike. Mike can do the roof. We've got some landscaping Jason can do in our garden.
As long as they don't mind sharing a bed in the spare room.
They'll love it.
Yeah.
Utah can come, of course.
Well, where's he going to sleep? Am I going to be out on my ear?
I don't know.
I'll sleep with the cat or the producer downstairs on the sofa.
Producer Charlie,
I'll sleep with producer Slitch. I've slept with a few producers in my time.
That's how you got the role.
Yeah.
He prides himself on being extremely observant, so he's keen to utilise those skills on the traitors. Yes, he did that.
He certainly did.
Strategically, he'll be careful about who he confides in. Yeah, he was
He
kind of
was,
done, yeah.
to be fair, he was very quiet.
He also has a few secrets that he'll keep up his sleeve. Not sure what they are.
I don't think Jason had any secrets other than he had that A4 piece of paper where he was writing notes. That was his big secret, and unfortunately, that
Joe didn't.
Joe didn't buy it. Yeah, but Jason played such a great game, and this is what this was what was so sad about it, because Jason played such a good game that as a faithful, that really, if a faithful had won, if Jason hadn't won as a faithful and got voted off, and then Joe and Donna won, then I would have felt really sick, because Jason really did deserve to win the money.
So we've got Donna.
What's your name? Where'd he come from?
Donna. Donna Officer. It's a cool surname. Officer.
Don Officer. Not Donna Kebab.
On a mission to live her best life. Succeeded.
She lives in Dubuque.
What's wrong with that?
Puke.
Sorry?
Well, it's slang for being sick.
Right. Well, New Zealand has weird names for everything. Remember?
What, Christchurch?
No, like Mount Hateful. Or
Mount
whatever it was,
Horrible.
and all sorts of weird ones. We listed them out a few episodes ago. Donna is out.
Is she? Wow. Good for Donna. Good for you, Donna.
Donna's out. The end. Donna,
Donna.
Is out to do herself proud by being out.
Oh, okay.
We don't know if Donna's a lesbian. Who knows? Having just turned 40,
It doesn't matter if you are, Donna. It's your information to keep. Don't
Donna
worry
is
about
out and
it.
doing herself proud.
Good.
Having just turned 40, we've been really mean to Donna. At the beginning of the series, I said she looked like the drug addict from Desperate Housewives. And I didn't mean looked like. I meant she looked like the actress who played. And it wasn't a drug addict. It was a drug dealer.
Ah.
That's different.
There's a difference.
Yes. Where am I? Having just turned 40, gotten married, dropped 80 kilos, and ran her first half marathon, Donna is kicking goals all over the place. She's gotten a self-proclaimed workaholic and can't wait to use her people skills on the traitors. What a mouthful.
That's what she said. Donna. Oh, lovely Donna. I mean, I
felt ill at the end of the
my
series.
heart hurt because
Yeah.
she felt very betrayed, didn't she? Her crying, and Paul Henry was like, Paul Henry's such a two-faced git as well. It's like, don't, Donna, you played a wonderful game. You played a great game, Donna. You really did. You got to the final. You were the final two. You were perfect. You were great. Turns around, walks off to old Bailey, and what does he say? What does he say to Bailey as he's walking off toward the house?
You've worked hard to earn that money, just like all those other people worked really hard to lose it.
What a bitch, Paul Henry. What a bitch. But I love it.
Arrogant prick.
Yes, exactly.
Right, so we go to our winner then.
Bailey Clench.
It's not
I know
Clent.
it's not Clench. It's just I saw.
Right,
the
so Bailey,
surname.
28. Bailey loves making people happy. Well,
Do you, Bailey?
didn't do a very good job at that.
No, you
We
did
all
an
saw
awful
Donna's
job.
tears. She is a people person and works in what's got to be one of the happiest jobs in the world, being a wedding videographer.
See, I don't agree with that. I'd hate that job because you'd be surrounded by loads of questionably drunk people, and there'd be like, you know what I mean?
Well, you know the last show that we can pitch for New Zealand television is now
What?
Brianna organising her wedding. Who's doing the videography of it? Bailey and Brianna.
And do you know what the title could be? And I apologise
Bailey
now.
and Brianna.
Okay,
Wedded Bliss.
no.
Where they go around New Zealand and
What, organise weddings
And
for people?
organise weddings for
I mean,
people.
that's not a bad title. What I was going to say was it could be called Bailey and Brianna's Bridezillas.
yeah, that could work in the UK if they do a spin-off. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So that's our last pitch
So-
of the series.
So yes, anyone who works in TV wants to do a TV series. That's our idea now.
Bailey and Brianna.
Bailey and
Wedding
Brianna.
crashers.
Wedding bashers. Bash. What was that? Tabitha
Takes over.
takes over. That's what they should do. They should take a wedding that's going wrong.
Correct
and
it.
Yeah, and they've got 2 weeks to quickly turn it around and get it sorted out. Perfect. There you go. Idea. Good.
Easy.
Carry on.
She's got a great sense of humour and finds that people trust her even when they hardly even know her. Sometimes overlooked because she's so lovely. She's keen to fly under the radar for a bit before showing her true colours, and she kept true to that.
They're
So there
saying
you go.
true colours. It makes it sound like that she was always very manipulative and evil, and I don't like to think that about Bailey. I feel
Well, I
like
felt it mean when Joe said, when she was doing her two truths and a lie, Joe was like, "You look like someone who got bullied."
that is true.
And she was like, yes, that's true. So I'm glad that she won.
Do you think Joe kind of a little bit, because he went for Noel quite hard and he went for Bailey quite hard, do you think that he kind of just didn't like them very much? And that's why he kind of... Not in a nasty way. Not in a horrible way. What I mean is like... No, what
he
I
wasn't
mean...
part of the theatre group, was he? The theatre kids.
That's what I mean. And do you think that Joe kind of wanted to be part of that group, and because he wasn't kind of...
He got with the old house husbands
He got
instead.
the house husbands instead. But
All the
that's
oldies.
Honestly, Joe was right about Bailey. Let's not be wrong. And to be fair also, that Joe was right to really suspect Noel, because suspicion had been thrown out there from the moment he became a gravedigger.
Mm-hmm.
And also he didn't help himself by... Noel, didn't help himself by then... betraying Joe when Joe confided in him with information. So there's no shade on Joe. Joe, I love you. You're flower, and my God, you took a lot of hot sauce in your mouth. But my goodness, what an ending that was.
Well, there you go then. So Bailey did win. I am glad that Bailey won. She played a good game. It's just that last bit with Donna was just unfortunate. Just
for Donna, not for Bailey.
No, for the viewer, me. It's just, I don't like watching that.
I don't mind. I know a lot of people say that it feels a bit anticlimactic when a traitor wins. I don't mind necessarily a traitor winning, especially in the way it was done here, because I feel like that it was
earned.
It was earned, yeah.
It was just not that last bit.
But I do get that it feels so much more like fulfilling that you've just watched 12 episodes of a TV show and you've then seen the good guys win.
They don't seem to know how to end it, because when the faithful win, there's like fire. I mean, I'm sure they put fireworks, don't they, as they pan away?
They did fireworks when the traitor... when on one of the series we've also watched one.
Oh,
they went
no
outside and
Bailey.
they clinged to... Well, Bailey was going back to Paul Henry was doing something questionable, like sharing his gin with her.
That's true.
Enough talk.
Do we have no comments?
Comments? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come on. We might as well read some comments out while we're here. We're here for the long run
so
now.
We've got some comments. So Anna, who you may remember from Series 1, Traitors New Zealand.
Anna was the one who wouldn't get the tattoo.
Yeah. Well,
oh, Anna.
she threw away those thousands, didn't she?
Thousands.
Such an incredible season. They had it a lot tougher than we did. The producers did a great job.
It was I must say, it was a much... It still felt like New Zealand Traitors. It still felt like I've said, the New Zealand series is on par, if not sometimes better than the UK version. I still stick to that.
Okay, before you carry on.
Oh, sorry, go on.
New Zealand Series 2 seemed closely aligned with UK Series 2. New Zealand Series 2 with UK. Which one did you prefer? That's a question. Not from Anna, from someone else.
For the ending?
UK. The UK Series 2 ending, there was a moment.
It was very dramatic, that's true.
Where it's just like, this is peak television moments.
That is true. I think I still...
Plus the guy walking in and seeing Thingy not dead makes me laugh still. The meme.
I mean, that was a good meme. Yeah.
That's not the final, but like, there's the Series 2 of UK had lots of like moments.
Rasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Rasses.
Viral moments.
There was a lot of viral moments in the UK version. I think that if you were to air the New Zealand version in the UK as it was airing in New Zealand, and it got a kind of a good fan base, I actually think there's a good few... Well, look, we took sound clips. There's a good few viral moments that could have been taken for the New Zealand series.
I think Series 2 UK
I think it just pips it. I think that as a full series, the UK tend to do it a little bit better. But that's not to say that I think that the New Zealand series was just as enjoyable to watch as Series 1.
I prefer the New Zealand cast, though. Series 2 cast.
Well, the characters.
There's a good cast, this series, yeah.
I quite like the characters in... They're okay. There's... I don't know, it's hard really, because there's characters in both versions where I've kind of gone like, I'm kind of glad you've gone. It's really tough. They're both really good series. As we said, New Zealand and UK are such on the par, and it really frustrates me when people say like, I really like the US version because and it's like, yeah, but it's difficult to watch the US version. But then I think, to be fair, we get a lot of criticism, people saying that, yes, because you're watching it from the outside in, and I get that. But
I don't care. Anyway, right. So, Truly Faithful, which I don't believe because that's us, said, no spoilers, but I'm watching the final right now, and I'm so happy that the final mission was just like New Zealand Series 1.
So was I. As soon as he said that he was going to give each one of them individual missions, I thought, yes, this is what we need it.
To end our series of Traitors New Zealand.
Before you say that also, can I say that Paul Henry sent them their messages via a cassette tape?
That's true.
On a Walkman.
Where did they get them from?
They're all the same Walkman, so I'm presuming they've just had a runner
very
literally run from one location to the next.
Those New Zealand lot. Ciale's never seen a sheep before, did he?
Well,
He thought it was snow.
No. Don't be... No, again, that's almost slightly on the racist side. He came from a country where they didn't have sheep. So he wouldn't recognise what a sheep looked like. So a sheep laying down, he just believed. And especially if it was a cold day, it looks like snow.
Maybe it was winter.
Well, it would have been winter, wouldn't it? It
Anyway,
was a cold day.
we've
In the middle of the hottest day of the year, summer.
Just to end it on, we've already read it on, but Whitney says, I do not ride a bike to work. And
Thank you, Whitney.
Ends the question, finally, of if people ride a bike to work. We have Widamu to thank for that, and he went on like episode 2, so it's been a long-running joke, but we got there.
A joke that I feel like
Shana.
was worth looking for.
There you go then. So that's us done for a while.
Series.
I don't know when our next one... I'm guessing it's going to be Canada Series 2 is the next one.
No, I think America first, isn't it? America already showing promos.
No, that'll be January.
No, no. January is the UK.
Yeah, and then Americans straight after.
But they...
Anyway, we don't need to have no airtime here. But
no.
It's going to be maybe Canada, maybe UK.
Well, do you know what else is coming? I found out that they're making a version of, and we said we only do the English-speaking version one, so this is good news for anyone.
The Traitors Celebrity UK is also going to be a series.
The Traitors Celebrity UK is also a series, but also the Traitors Ireland. Ooh. The Irish are doing a version as well. Gosh. So, watch the space. RTE, if you need I think it's on RTE. If you need a mouthpiece for the...
Well, we'll do our own show, won't we?
Not if RTE pay me. I don't mind helping them out.
Right, so if people want to get in touch with us while we're away for a few months, they can.
Yes.
And we will read or whatever. How do they do it?
Okay, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com is our email. You can find us on Twitter, at the dying platform, at Twitter's... at Traitors Podcast.
Not used to doing a show more than 30 minutes, though.
No.
Falling apart now.
You can find us on Instagram or Threads at Faithful to the Traitors. If you find us on YouTube by searching Faithful to the Traitors Podcast, and you can comment underneath the video. Don't forget to like, ring the bell, and subscribe to the podcast so you can carry on getting the new episodes when they come out. For all the different versions we do, Canada. We also have a backlog on there as well. We also have the backlog on our audio podcast as well, which you can find on any of your favourite podcast apps. And if you enjoy listening to us, don't forget to give us 5 stars and comment for why you've given us 5 stars. And if you want to help us on the podcast monetarily, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful and throw some silver bars our way.
Lovely. So we will see you all again soon. If you're in New Zealand and you only watch the New Zealand one, we will hopefully see you next year for Series 3. I'm sure it will get picked up.
I'm fairly certain.
We all know he's going to be back.
Arrogant prick.
There's no getting rid of him. So we'll
Why
see you...
would you ever want to get rid of him?
Exactly. Hopefully there's more flamboyant things next year. More paint.
More
nails.
Pomeranians.
Yeah, more dogs. Mm-hmm. More suits. More hats. More sticks.
More glasses.
But until then,
more
everyone,
step ladders.
we will see you whenever we see you. Goodbye.